Y'all see the description? Hey, what's up? Thank you for your support. Hit that like button. Charleston White. I want to know how people feel about it though. Charleston White gonna troll. He gonna say shit. Talking about Gucci Mane need to join him in his academy of putting rappers in jail and shit like that. For somebody who hate rappers, he damn sure he wanna live the lifestyle like one. Like, you know what I mean? You go back and see old videos of that dude, like before he transformed to what he is now. When he wasn't wearing jewelry, he was just a normal civilian, getting pulled over, getting arrested, gotta call his wife for bond money. She like, I ain't got it, so he gotta go sit. You know what I mean? And money changes people, you know what I mean? I heard him one time say that when he tried to go about things a different way as far as, suit and tie type shit, and down at courthouse trying to get laws changed and shit like that, that people want to listen to him. What it do, young gangster? What's up, Tyler? He said when he was trying to be suit and tie, people weren't really paying him no mind like that. You know what I mean? When he was quote unquote saying he was trying to change laws and shit. You know what I mean? Everybody know it's all over the internet about the Gucci Mane and Pooh Shiesty shit. Everybody giving their take on it. You know what I mean? And their point of view of how they feel about it and shit like that. I seen Rick Ross comment and say, what it do, like, comment, subscribe. I seen Rick Ross comment and say, you can't mix street business with business. You know what I mean? Some people even tried to put it in the mind frame of the NWA movie when Suge Knight, quote unquote, supposedly made Easy allegedly sign a contract. You know what I mean? Amy Gamer 1214, what's up, bro? What it do, family? I kind of hate that shit happened because, the nigga still, Pooh Shiesty was still in the halfway house, you know what I mean? And then Gucci always talking about how much his jewelry costs, you know what I mean? 2 mil for this, there's many millions for this and that right there, and some shit like that. You know what I mean? You gotta report that shit as far as insurance claim and shit. You know what I mean? Some shit like that, you're gonna have insurance on that type shit. So, I already heard the story about they saying one of his security guards was a off-duty, a retired cop or some shit like that, But they say, look, Gucci like 50 years old, probably over or some shit like that. This ain't Zone 6 Gucci, you know what I mean? Like gold teeth Gucci, you know what I mean? This dude gonna be rolling with real security. And a lot of them people who do security was like former law enforcement type people and shit like that, you know what I mean? So, even if a nigga did want to keep it in the streets, once anybody a part of the law on your security team and they involved in getting laid down, quote unquote, allegedly too. So, you know what I mean? What you think they gonna do? And then they be knowing people who know people, you know what I mean? That's all that shit be. It be like a domino effect, like this person know that person, this person know that person, and then for it, you know what I mean, this person's best friend is a judge, and then the judge best friend is an FBI agent, and all that. They all stay in the same community and shit like that, or whatever. And then, the feds, before they really hit you, you know what I mean, they make sure they gather all the intelligence and evidence against you. So they got photos of Shiesty wearing a ring, you know what I mean? And I just hate that his pops and everybody got caught up in that shit. Like a long time ago, I know this ain't got nothing to do with the subject, but like I remember a long time ago, right? This was before Plies and Boosie, you know what I mean? When it was like little shit between them, not no beef or nothing like that. It was just up in the air. But a shooting happened at a show and shit like that. So Plies and his brother Big Gates got locked up. And he said some shit to me that made sense. He was like, he felt crazy and stupid because him and Plies got locked up at the same time. So it was like neither one of them was on the street to hold shit down. You know what I mean? So he said from that day forward, he made sure that him and his brother was never really at the same place at the same time, because somebody got to be free to hold the business down and handle the business to make sure we get out. You know what I mean? So Big 30 and all of them, and you know what I mean? And you know, when you doing gangster shit, you ain't really thinking all like that at the moment. You know what I mean? And then, like I say, that's kind of bold move anyway. Because if you at a hotel meeting up with somebody, it's cameras, all type of shit. From the moment you hit the parking lot here, you're already being recorded from fucking pole lights before you even hit the fucking parking lot. So, you know, that's kind of like, you know, a move a lot of us feel like he shouldn't have made. But I guess they say when it's 10 M's on the line, and maybe Gucci is holding that up from him getting that deal because he has to have paperwork saying he's released from them, then maybe that will cause a nigga to crash out, because he basically feel like you disrespected his cousin Big Scar, so he can't fuck with you. You know what I mean? So, hey, that's understandable. But at the same time, Charleston White, he feel, and a lot of other people feel like Gucci ain't wrong for snitching, or if he got to take a stand in this situation. He 50 years old, he married, kids, all that shit. He ain't his own 6 gold teeth Gucci. So Charleston White feel like, yeah, come on ahead, jump on my side. Let's start putting niggas away and all that shit. And it's crazy because he really, Charleston White really got like a personal vendetta against rappers, but he want to be like a rapper and live the lifestyle. That's why he be on the road trying to be in different hotels and Airbnbs, and you know what I mean, supposed to been a married man, now you out there fucking with young chicks, you know what I mean, and talking crazy. Now, you know, money, you know, they say is the root of evil, but I feel like money reveals a character that in you that was always hidden in you. You know what I mean? It just took for you to come across your good lick, and now you're just revealing the person who you would have always been, which is an uncontrollable dumbass. You know what I mean? I ain't just saying Charles, I'm just saying a lot of people in general. Like, I'd rather be in a situation, what it do, family? I'd rather be in a situation where I've had money in the street, and I've had ups and highs and mids and lows of having money in the street, to where when I do come across my break and I come across a major deal or whatever it is, I'm gonna know how to go about my finances and conducting myself, versus somebody who just never had money, and then, you know what I mean, you come across a bag and now you just don't know how to fucking act no more. You don't know how to carry yourself. You reckless as fuck, you know what I mean? You getting caught up, baby here, baby there, you know what I mean? You damn near giving your homies money to go in on a pack, you know what I mean? You just doing goofy ass shit, you know what I mean? You know, really not taking advantage of the opportunity that's been handed before you, you know what I mean? But Charleston White, he always say crazy shit. I'm not a fan of him or nothing like that. I don't got a problem with him or nothing like that. 5,000 isn't money. That's bullshit. I mean, 5,000 might not be nothing to you. You know what I mean? 5,000 might be a lot to somebody else, especially if they're in need of it right now. You know what I mean? But I know that ring and all that shit that Gucci be talking about, rapping about. You know what I mean? If that ring and all that shit that got took, they say he felt so disrespected because they made him unscrew his earrings out his ear and all type of shit. You know what I mean? Told him he don't do it, boy. You gonna make an example out your ass. You know what I mean? So, I ain't gonna lie. I don't jump on everything that hit the net, so I ain't really think it was really that deep like that until I seen the feds hit the spot. And anybody who been in the streets or who had parents or a part of the streets, you know, when the 3 letters get involved, okay, now you know this just ain't no talk. This shit is for real, because they hit the spot trying to look for either, they look for blicks or any type of jewelry piece or item or whatever. You know what I mean? They already got footage. They already know who was there. You know what I mean? They just want to try to, you know what I mean, bury you even more, like they was doing, taking pictures of everything, all that shit, tearing through shit. You know what I mean? They ain't gonna show that part, but You know, like I said, some people say, hey, if it's 10 M's on the line, you know what I mean? And Gucci is the reason why you can't get this deal done. Then some people say, man, I don't know, I wouldn't have did it. You can't say what you wouldn't have did because you ain't never been in no situation where, you know what I mean, you could be getting your hands on 10 M's within the blink of an eye. You know what I mean? So now you got the one comedian dude, Bubba or whatever, who be all on like Skip Show and First Take and all that shit, talking about basically he on some Charleston white shit like Gucci, you ain't wrong for doing what you got to do or whatever. You know what I mean? But at this moment, you know what I mean? You see the comments like people like, oh man, Atlanta got a bad name, woody woody woo, because of a lot of shit that's just been going on with Atlanta as far as the way they feel about the streets and the way they view the streets. You feel me? Gucci, haha, yeah, right. So, and then you seeing people playing old clips of Gucci when he was doing the interview with a dude back in the DVD era, talking about look, yeah. See, that's why I try not to really bug out too much. Cause look, my father, my mom and dad be watching my lives. Shout out to my father. He's a real man, stand up guy, and I got a stand up mother too. But Charleston White want Gucci to come over to the Snitch Academy. You know what I mean? And Gucci, he just dropped a shoe line, all type of shit. You know, he moving on. It's business as usual with him. He just gonna make money off his catalog, pool catalog, and all that shit. And it's crazy because he literally was in the halfway house. Like he didn't even make it out the halfway house. You know what I mean? He still had a band on you, and it's like that just wasn't no smart move. But like I said, when it's 10 M's on the line, you can't say what's not a smart move or what a person should have done. You know what I mean? We all say what we shouldn't have done and all that shit, but when it's really on the line, you know what I mean? You don't know how far a person really willing to go. You know what I mean? You don't. But like I said, everything that hop on the internet, you really can't just jump on Jesus died so you could live freely. Oh yeah, most definitely, I agree. Shout you out, Freddie.
I was doing a show in Tampa, Florida, and while I was riding out, we heard on the radio. So, like, did that feel like it kind of came out of nowhere? Like, what the fuck is going on? No, actually, I anticipated the shit. You know what I'm saying? But still, I got hurt. So, how's Gucci Man handling the situation? Everything's cool, man. You know what I'm saying? I've been beefing with niggas in the hood all my life. You know what I'm saying? But it's like one of the weakest niggas I ever beef with. All right, so you got some diss records coming out, or like, what's going on with you? You know what I'm saying? I got the album in stores now. You know what I mean? I want everybody to go support me real hot. Got a lot of talented producers on there. You know what I mean? A lot of party tracks, a lot of street shit on there. You know what I'm saying? As far as the disc, you know what I mean? I got a couple songs. You know what I mean? I got a couple discs on the album. Everybody go check it out. Now you hear what I got to say. All right. Now, just recently, I mean, you involved in a very serious situation. It's like actually like there's some legal charges against you right now. Yeah. Okay. Can you talk about what's going on with that? Shit, shit too much. Then I can't, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, but shit happens. You know what I mean? Just on the, you know what I mean? Like guys say, on the battlefield, rap legend, a lot of shit won't got nothing in the way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I'm definitely on the battlefield of rap legend, so I don't shit. Every hood I got to jump on the track stuff. Yeah. We keep it street. We keep
Yo,
it
Gucci a legend.
right here. He might not be able to say it, but I'm gonna say it. All right. Man got some. Are they murder charges or attempted murder charges? Murder charges. Murder charges, straight up. And what's so crazy was we're on the set of Rap City. We're taping the show, and like I had no clue because he was so just like regular with this shit. It's like, man, you can't fold under pressure. You say pressure busts a pipe. You gotta hold your shit together. I represent labels and a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, working very hard day and night. I'm just the person that's in the forefront, you know what I'm saying? So everything I got to do got to be smart. I can't disgrace nobody. There's a lot of people that I disgrace, you know what I'm saying? So I got to hold the respect for my company down and respect the big cat down. So you know what I'm saying? I'm respect for that. I had to hold myself together. I can't do my composure. So outside of Jeezy, are there any other beefs that you feel that you have? I mean, I ain't gonna ask you to name no names specifically. Yeah, there's a lot of fuck niggas I don't like. Okay. You know what I'm saying? But you can talk on if you want to. You want to drop some names. Them niggas ain't really work for me. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Because they ain't big niggas. They ain't big as Jeezy. Jeezy like the biggest thing nigga. You know, beef with me. So I got to go and help because he got an opportunity to get his shit, you know what I'm saying, out there. So I have to go and help. Not a choice. All right, yeah. So that situation that we were just talking about with the charges and so forth, do you feel like it was a setup because cats came like after you, like they was coming to get you? Yeah, I think it was a setup. Do you have any like indications on who it might be? If you heard anything on the streets, just when you were feeling your own heart? Well, you know what I'm saying? Like I say, ain't too many people got the motive to do some shit like that. I just like a detective, you know what I'm saying? Look at the motive, who has motive to do it. And this fuck nigga don't even has motive. Straight up. So it's real serious when we talking about like actually trying to like set somebody to take someone's life. It's on a whole other level. It's past just the wax. It's like it's got a competition. You know what I'm saying? I'm independent. You major. What the hell you beef with me for? You feel me? Why would you jeopardize everything you got going to people in an independent label?
A lot of people felt like that was snitching. You know what I mean? Like they felt like him going on the DVD talking about the motive was Jeezy. People felt like that was snitching. And that resurfaced because of the Pooh Shiesty shit. And that shit like hella years old. You know what I mean? But Charleston White, he gonna get his in. He gonna make his opinion. He gonna, say crazy shit to get clicks and likes and all of that or whatever and all that. And like I said, he talking about he want Gucci Mane to put his, like how them golfers be having green jackets and shit. He want Gucci Mane to join him on basically burying these fucking rappers because like I say, he don't got nothing against ball players, actors. He all about shock value, so he feel like to him for rappers to not be so important that evidently they are because everything get blamed on them and they supposed to have the biggest influence in the world, which is I don't agree with that because maybe top three, but movies influenced way more shit than music did. You know what I mean? You just want to blame music because people put music at the forefront. You know what I mean? With the social media and all that shit. But yeah, let's see how this shit play out. You know what I mean? I seen the nigga mama, Pooh Shiesty mama, saying she was going to court to see about a bond or some shit like that. I don't know. I don't even think you. I know he ain't. Maybe his father or some shit. I don't know, but I don't know. Just to see the outcome. But you know what I mean. One thing about the FBI, dog, like you know what I mean. You don't really want to be dealing with them boys all like that. You know what I mean. So try Gang TV. You know what I mean? I just wanted to tap in with that, you know what I mean? Because how Charleston White really felt like Gucci now is on his side of the fence. And then you got old footage of when Gucci was talking about him and Jeezy situation, and you had dudes back then saying Jeezy always kept it real, you know what I mean? And some people felt like Stay Strapped was even better than the shit he was dropping back then. But like I say, this is a 50-year-old Gucci married man, not rolling with a bunch of street niggas, you know what I mean? Hire security, and some of those securities you hire do be former law enforcement. You know what I mean? So you can't knock somebody for how they go about protecting themselves. Let's just see how it all play out. Charleston White feels like Gucci Mane should testify and take the stand proudly, Scouts Honor type shit, you know what I mean? So y'all already knew, like, share, comment this video. Appreciate y'all for hitting that like button, tapping in. You know what I mean? Tribe Gang TV. Till next time, we out.